Hi, I've got a lot to talk about my topic here, and so I'm going to get going right away. My topic is the importance of learning through play in the elementary classroom. Uh, to start off, I've just got some photos here that will hopefully show you some different variations of play in the classroom, different ways that it's being used. And then getting right into it, my first question is how many hours a day do elementary students spend sitting in their seats? Coming from a study out of Australia, SANE states that a survey of kindergarten teachers in one district indicated that children spend around 5.5 hours out of 6.5 hour school days in their seats. Calculated out, that's about 85% of their school day that they're spending in their seats. And then my question for you is how many hours a day do you spend sitting at a desk for your job? And I know that we're all teachers and educators here, so typically we're going to be on our feet and doing and moving and going. And I know that I would rather be moving around and fully experiencing my work day. And I am arguing that our students should be able to do the same. Play enables children to understand the world, interact with others socially, control and express emotions, and establish their symbolic representation capabilities. And that was actually from a study that was done in Hong Kong, but in a district that was working to implement more play-based learning systems. Why is it important for elementary students to engage in learning through play, and how does that play benefit and support their learning? That's what I'm going to be addressing in the next few slides here. So really nice pictures here of really nice students sitting in their seats doing exactly what we traditionally expect them to do, and this might be necessary for learning at some times, but I don't think that this is what we should be seeing all day long. Like I said, for 85% of their entire school day, that's a long time for these little bodies to be in those desks. Some negatives to them being in those desks all day: they're just not engaged. The information that they're learning is not being absorbed. It's much better retained when they're physically manipulating it in some way, and this comes from having different learning styles. Some students just can't absorb information auditorially or visually. They're having a hard time picking it up and remembering it. When we physically do things, our long-term memory picks up on those things and we're able to retain them for much longer. And so with our memory and our brain function, they're negatively being affected when they're expected to just sit and watch and listen. Also their bodies physically need movement and stimulation. Their posture's not so good when they're sitting in those desks all day long. They start to slouch, they're slumped over, they're not getting good blood flow, their physical health is being reduced, there's no movement, their mental health can then in turn be negatively affected as well. Another quote from that Australian study from SANE is that previously early childhood classrooms were equipped with play centers where children played and learned. Today, many classrooms do not promote or support play. Recess, art, and music are being reduced, and physical education has become a once-a-week endeavor. And while I don't feel that that's necessarily typical of all American schools, I think that some of us are doing a nice job of going back to that movement and getting kids active and things like that. I do think that it is a good representation of some schools and how we don't value the movement as much as we value the learning, and I think that that has to do with how much we're trying to get through with these students. There's so much information and such high standards that we are attempting just to teach and forgetting about those physical actions, especially with these young kids. They're spending more time sitting at their desks expected to pick up different concepts, and they're losing out on some of that play interaction that they used to have at these ages and that they really need at these ages. And so the benefits of play in elementary school, I'm going to go right ahead and say that we can do both. We can teach and we can play, and I'm hoping that we can do some of those things at the same time. But while we're playing in elementary school, students are moving their bodies. They're physical. It's the opposite of what the negative was. Their blood flow is stimulating their brain and their focus. They're feeling more comfortable. Their posture is better. Their bodies are getting some energy out, all of that good physical stuff. And then also, hopefully for most students, this is going to help them retain the information better. If they're playing and learning the concepts through physical actions, they're going to be manipulating things, they're going to be working with things. It's going to affect their long-term memory better than if they just watched an example of it. article from a physical therapist in the United States here. A child's pretend playability has been directly linked to their semantic organization and narrative retelling skills. I think that goes with their memory as well. Long term, they can retell the events that are happening. They're working on those things. The students are having fun. That creates positive attitudes about learning. And overall, we're going to have better mental health and be developing great social skills. So some good things coming from playing at this age. The big question is how. How do we do it in our classrooms? How are we supposed to implement this? We've got so much to do. How can we do both? The biggest way I think that some people already would be doing this at these ages is to do review games or project-based learning, imaginative assignments. Maybe you have writing assignments where they're using their imagination. And then physical education too. It's all structured via curriculum. It's things that you can do that would be coinciding with what you're teaching. So you're not necessarily losing time to play. You are using your time that you already have in a different way. Also, you can allow for open-ended imaginative play. If you have any time to do this, this is like your recess, use of the gym for free play, morning free play, music, dance, movement, all of that great stuff that they can start coming up with things on their own and learn some of those social skills on their own too is really good. In conclusion, it's beneficial for elementary students to have opportunities to get up and out of their seats to learn through play. There can be some negative effects to passively sitting for too long, and play can help students retain information and have a positive school experience. My last little quote here from Sane, the Australian study, said that a consequence of these strategies will be to promote function, participation, and occupation related to academic and pre-academic learning that is fun and meaningful to children. Thank you.